My name is Alex, and this happened in the fall of 2022 when I was 28. I just bought my first house, a small, fixer-upper ranch-style place on the edge of a quiet suburb outside Denver. It was built in the 70s, had a big, unfinished basement with a dirt floor crawl space underneath for utilities, and I got it cheap because the previous owners had let it go. I didn't mind the work. I liked the idea of making it mine. The first few months were normal. I'd come home from my job at a warehouse, cook dinner, watch TV, crash. But around November, little things started feeling off. Nothing dramatic, just enough to make me second-guess myself. It began with smells. Not bad ones, exactly. Sometimes I'd walk into the kitchen and catch this faint, musty odor like wet dirt mixed with old sweat. I'd check under the sink, behind the fridge, even the trash. Nothing. It would fade after a minute or two. I figured it was the old house settling or maybe a dead mouse in the walls. Then the food. I started noticing small amounts missing. A half-eaten sandwich I'd left in the fridge would be gone the next day, but the wrapper was still there, crumpled like I'd eaten it myself. A bag of chips would be down a handful more than I remembered. I thought maybe I was just hungrier than usual or absent-minded from long shifts. The noises came next. At night, when the house was dead quiet, I'd hear faint scratching from under the floorboards. Not constant, just every few minutes like nails on wood, then silence. I told myself it was pipes expanding or animals outside. But one night around 2 a.m., I lay in bed and heard it directly beneath me. Slow, deliberate scraping like someone dragging something across dirt. I froze, heart hammering. It stopped after about 30 seconds. I told myself I was imagining it. I bought a cheap motion-activated camera for the basement stairs, thinking maybe a raccoon had gotten in. I set it up on a shelf pointing down. The next morning, the footage showed nothing unusual, just the empty stairs, a few dust motes floating in the infrared glow. But around 3:17 a.m., the motion light triggered. The camera recorded 10 seconds of darkness. Then a faint shape moved at the very bottom edge of the frame. It looked like the top of a head, dark hair, maybe ducking out of view, toward the crawlspace access panel. In the basement ceiling, I replayed it 10 times. It could have been a shadow, or hair, I couldn't tell. If he found another way in somewhere else. I started sleeping with a baseball bat next to the bed. I checked the crawlspace access once. It's this small square panel in the basement ceiling, screwed shut. I unscrewed it, shone a flashlight in. Just dirt, insulation, pipes, spider webs, nothing. But the smell was stronger in there, definitely. Human sweat mixed with soil. Things escalated in December. I came home one evening to find my bedroom door closed. I always left it open for airflow. Inside, my bed was made, but the blanket was pulled back on one side, like someone had sat there for a while. My pillow had a small indentation, and there was a single long black hair on the sheet. I don't have long hair. I tore the place apart looking for signs of entry. Windows locked, doors bolted, no broken glass, nothing. That night I couldn't sleep. Around 1 a.m. I heard footsteps. Soft, careful thuds from the basement. Then the faint creak of the crawlspace panel being pushed open from below. My blood went cold. I grabbed the bat, crept downstairs in the dark. The basement was empty. The panel was shut tight, screws still in place, but fresh dirt crumbs were scattered on the floor beneath. It like someone had brushed them off coming out. I called the police the next day. They came, looked around, said it could be a squatter or transient who'd found a way in through an old vent. They checked the crawl space, found a sleeping bag rolled up in the far corner, some empty water bottles, candy wrappers, and a small pile of my missing food. They also found a notebook with dates and times written in it. Some matched when I'd been home alone. One entry, he sleeps heavy. Good. The cops dusted for prints, but nothing usable. They told me to change the locks I already had. Get a better security system for a bit. I did for a week. When I came back, the crawl space was empty again. No sleeping bag, no trash. But the panel screws were loose, like someone had taken them out and put them back sloppily. I installed more cameras, one inside the crawl space pointing at the sleeping area, one in the basement, one outside. I also got a loud alarm that would trigger if the panel moved. For 2 weeks, nothing. Then one Saturday night in January, I was home alone watching a movie. Around midnight, the crawlspace camera pinged motion. I pulled up the feed on my phone. In the grainy night vision, a figure crawled slowly into frame thin, wearing dark clothes, hood up. I assume it was a he, unrolled a thin mat, lay down, and just stared at the camera lens for a full minute, like he knew it was there. Then he reached up and covered the lens with something, dirt or a rag. The feed went black. I ran downstairs, bat in hand, heart in my throat. The panel was open. I yelled into the darkness, "I know you're in there." "Get out." Silence. Then a low chuckle barely audible from deep inside. I slammed the panel shut, screwed it in with an electric drill, piled boxes on top, and called 911 again. "This is from Sarah, 34, happened in 2023 in a small town in Ohio. I lived alone in a 2-story Victorian house I'd inherited from my grandmother. It was old, built in 1890 with high ceilings, creaky floors, and a big attic I never used. I kept the attic door locked at the top of the pull-down stairs in the hallway. The house was too big for me, but I couldn't bear to sell it. The first sign was dust. I'd find fine gray dust on the hallway. Floor under the attic door like it had sifted down from above. I thought maybe the insulation was degrading. Then the thumps. Soft, muffled sounds from overhead at night, like someone walking carefully on boards. The attic was unfinished, beams, insulation, old boxes, so it made sense it would creak. But these were rhythmic footsteps. One evening in late summer, I was in the living room reading when I heard a cough. Clear as day from upstairs. "Not mine," I froze. Called out, "Hello?" Nothing. I went up, checked every room empty, attic door still locked. I laughed it off as the house settling or a neighbor outside. But then the personal stuff. My laundry started coming out of the dryer folded differently, socks paired wrong, shirts inside out when I'd left them right side. Small things. I thought maybe I was tired. Then one morning I found a note on my kitchen counter. "Thanks for the blanket," in handwriting I didn't recognize. The blanket from my couch was gone. I searched everywhere. Never found it. I changed the locks. Installed a Ring camera at the front door and one inside pointing at the attic stairs. For a week, nothing weird. Then one night, the indoor camera caught something at 3:42 a.m. The attic door slowly creaked open from the